What's up YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. Just like we did last month, today's video is going to be all the movies that I watched in July. I watched 9 total movies last month, so without further ado, let's get into it. The first movie I watched was Dredd. Dredd stars Karl Urban. Most of y'all probably know him from his role in The Boys. It's a dystopian film, which I really love that type of whole genre. I love dystopian films. It was a decent action film, nothing crazy or anything. It's based off this British comic series, and it seems like there's a lot of potential for further material given how extensive the comics are. And it's set in a really dark dystopia that seems super interesting, the comics at least, and I definitely think they could do more with it, but there's obviously not going to be a sequel. It came out over a decade ago, but yeah, just a fun action anti-hero movie, I guess. But yeah, the second movie I watched in July was Superman. This was my first ever Superman movie that I'd ever seen, and I definitely think it's a strong take on Superman from James Gunn, a good start to the DCU from Mr. Gunn. I mean, DC actually made a pretty good movie for once. I thought it was goofy, grand, whimsical, but also serious in a way that all superhero movies should be. It didn't take itself so seriously that it wasn't a fun superhero movie, but it definitely also had some serious political undertones as well that made it a pretty intellectual watch as well. It was pretty solid all-around acting, particularly from Nicholas Hoult, who I'm a big fan of. He had a huge 2024 as seen in my ranked 2024 movies video, so check that out if you haven't seen it. But yeah, he's on heater right now. Big fan of him. Super excited for whatever his next role is. The next movie I watched was Pacific Rim. Pacific Rim is one of a couple movies on this list that I'm actually featuring in another video based on my friend's recommendations, but I won't give any more spoilers besides that. But I enjoyed Pacific Rim. It was a pretty good action movie. It's definitely super 2013 coded, if you know what I mean. But I think kaijus are sick. I love that part of Japanese media, folklore, whatever. I think that's a super cool part of that culture. However, I'm not a super big fan of the acting in this movie, particularly from the character Mako and the actress that played her. I didn't really like her character in general. However, that's not the reason you watch this movie. You watch this movie to see mega robots fight kaiju dragon things. That's it. With that being said, I'm a huge fan of Idris Elba, fan of basically everything he does. I know he's done some couple stinkers recently, but I mean, he's goated. This movie had been on my list for a while. It definitely was a fun watch. It's definitely a dude movie for sure, but I would recommend it. It's fun. The next movie I watched was Warrior. Warrior's a gritty, rough, grimy, tough fighting movie. It's just, I love fighting movies. It makes you want to fight after. Like, look at this scene and tell me that doesn't just fire you up. I'm sorry how deep fried the screen cap is. That's the only one I can find with the quote, but just a great moment in the movie. I love the use of music in the final act in particular. I think Gavin O'Connor did a great job directing this. It might be some of his best work for sure. But yeah, it was a super emotional final act that choked me up a bit. I'll be honest, considering I have a brother. You know, I think all people who have a brother can relate to the message and how complicated those relationships can be. And I love Tom Hardy here. He's one of the GOATs. Even though his character isn't the most redeemable here, it's Tom Hardy. I love basically everything he's in. Joel Edgerton and Frank Grillo also turn in some pretty great performances in this as well. The next movie I watched, movie/documentary, was The Redeem Team. Netflix does a great job with their sports documentaries. Their basketball ones in particular have been really good. Court of Gold is a show I watched recently, is very good. Another Olympics coverage. But Redeem Team is about the 2008 USA men's basketball team who famously had to redeem the 2004 bronze medal squad. Only time in USA basketball history since they allowed NBA players that USA has not taken on the gold medal. It featured Kobe, LeBron, D-Wade, Melo. Like, the team was stacked. Good coverage, good behind the scenes. Netflix did a great job with it. I enjoyed it as a super basketball fan into documentaries. Nothing much though from a cinematic perspective as a film. The next movie I watched was Intergalactic. This, of course, was the Kid Cudi movie. It stars him in the main role, and it also came with a Kid Cudi album. So I usually only watch animated films on flights due to basically I'm going into it, I know there's going to be a lack of adult scenes because it's always awkward on a flight. You don't want to have something pop up on the screen that you got to turn the phone down. So I picked an animated movie to download and watch on the flight to Iceland. Check out that vlog if you haven't already. But the lack of adult scenes, that's not the case with this one. No, sir. This movie was crazy. I had to turn down the phone every couple minutes. And I think the fact that these scenes were animated almost made it worse in terms of like plain watchability, because it makes me more of a weirdo, bro. I did like, however, there was lots of really cool small details about Kid Cudi's life that if you're a fan of his music like I am, you would pick up on it, and it was cool. The animation style was also really dope. The character design was sick. It was a fun movie. I enjoyed it for sure. The colors and just the movie itself was super vibrant, even on my tiny phone screen. At first, though, I thought it was just going to be a complete stoner movie, and I don't smoke, so it wasn't my vibe, but it turned into more of a love story that I could get behind watching it. It was enjoyable. Yeah. The next movie I watched was Fantastic Four: First Steps. Watched in IMAX, which I recommend. Basically every blockbuster movie, you got to see it in IMAX. The big screen theater experience makes everything, just it elevates it. I thought the first half of this movie was a bit rushed with the timeline. I know a lot of people were talking about Kevin Feige cut it, and hence the only an hour 50 runtime. And I definitely think that they went through basically a year of content in like 15 minutes, it seemed. So I just thought things moved really fast at the beginning, way too fast for me. I would love to see an extended director's cut of it though. However, the final act made up for it. It was super fire. Great final act. I love Ben Grimm, the Thing's character, and I also love Julia Gardner as Shala Bal. I know some people have issues with Shala Bal being the Silver Surfer in the movie, but I didn't really care, and I love Julia Gardner as an actress. She's so good. Great role. I also liked how we got a peek into Reed Richards' mental health, which was dope. I like how Marvel is making that more of a talking point in their movies. And then I also like how it sets up Avengers Doomsday. I cannot wait to see Doctor Doom. It's super hyped for me. I know a lot of people are hating on Marvel, but you know, I'm a guy, bro. I like this stuff. The next movie I watched was Nightcrawler. I got a question, bro. Why is everything named Nightcrawler sick? You got the X-Men character, the Travis song, and then this movie. This movie was super dark, not only because most of it takes place at night, but also the storyline. When Jake Gyllenhaal is in a movie with legit good writing, he's so good. He can act his butt off. Like, take Prisoners, for example, this movie. But I mean, the same can be said, obviously, when the opposite. When he doesn't care, when the movie writing is trash, not a good watch. But that's not the case here because he acts his butt off. He really embodies the character. It's so creepy. His eyes are so big, yet they're sunken. And the way he like skulks around and moves, it's really eerie. It really was like a true portrayal of a sociopath. And then when it comes to the writing, the last line of the movie was so fire. Like, this was a pretty good watch. A really good watch, if we're being real. Great movie of the 2010s. The final movie I watched was Paris, Texas. I was told this movie was a slow burn, but man, truth be told, some of it was a bit boring. And also, I really don't know how to feel about this movie because it doesn't have a happy ending. It just ends. There's so many questions I'm left with. I'm left with more questions than answers, which makes me question, you know, how much I enjoyed the movie. However, it definitely had brought out some strong emotions. It was definitely an emotional film, and for its time, the cinematography was unbelievable. And I also will say that the little kid and his acting were super cute. It was funny, yeah. But my feelings about this movie are conflicted. I can see why it's so well regarded for its time, the emotions in it, but I like to enjoy watching a movie, and I can't say that I really enjoyed watching this one. But yeah, those were the 9 movies I watched in July. Hopefully we get to more in August. I traveled a lot, as y'all can see in the Iceland vlog. Make sure to check it out. But hopefully, you know, moving back to school, I'll get time for more movies. I know there's a couple big movies coming out in theaters that we also got to go watch. But yeah, let me know in the comments below what takes you agreed with, what takes you disagreed with. And if you're still watching, I really appreciate you. Make sure to drop a like and subscribe. We're on our way to 200 subs. We're getting there. We're inching there, but we're going to get there. And see you on the next video. Peace.
I just want to ball. Mama, I just want it all. I don't care about the law.